I was trying to figure out the other day what it is that I'm trying to do. Like, what is my job here? What is my role? And I'm always trying to point out who's the phony and who's not. Who's telling the truth and who's not. What's authentic and what's not. That's all I do. It's like I really don't produce anything. I just tell you, that's not true. That's true. He's lying. She's telling the truth. That's closer to the truth. That's a lie. That's not it. You're being misled. And you're only going to be misled by people that you know. You're only going to be lied to by people you let into your world. You're only going to be You're only going to be hurt by people that you trusted. Because sometimes you get lured into something, whether it's life, whether it's relationships, businesses, you get lured in by people who are part of the scrum, people who find this thing. And I saw this happening in this phenomenon that is called, very specifically, it's called MAGA or Trump. I've never seen anything like it ever in my adult life or life period. I've never seen anything. I don't think people understand really yet. I don't understand. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to get it. And what I like to do, what is my penchant, my penchant, is to analyze, peer, scrape, peel the top off of, dig deeper, look deeper, go deeper, find out what is this about, whether it's self-revelation, whether it's religion, politics, entertainment, sports, the media, health, and through the magic of social media, I'm able to hit levels I never thought possible. I'm not a prophet. I don't tell you what will happen. I tell you what's legit. That's all I know. He's legit. He's not. This is true. And you would think that if I knew what was true, I could tell you, well, here's what we need to do. I'm still learning. I never, ever, ever, ever delude myself into thinking that I'm prescient or vatic. No, but I know bullshit. And I know who's telling the truth. And I know exactly what's going on. In terms of, if you show me something now, I'm the guy who holds up the diamond or the gold that I do the test. I go, this is the real thing. This isn't. That's it. I want to remind you, 2 weeks from today, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to join me at the Cutting Room in New York City. And I have never liked stand-up. I did stand-up for years, and it was so uneventful. Not uneventful. I mean, it was successful, but it was just, I never felt fulfilled. It was always about trying to force this joke. It was like a version of pornography. You will be aroused by seeing other people aroused. The arousal isn't in you. The arousal is you becoming aroused by seeing other people. And that's what comedy is. Put people together in a room, one starts laughing, and pretty soon you're acting, it's not really not. I mean, it's funny, but it's that collective thing. It was okay. Because in comedy, you work out a bit, you work out a joke, you work out the timing, you work out the set, you work these things. It's like being a professional chef versus being a good cook. A good cook is somebody who just likes to do it. But a professional chef takes all of the fun out of it and really knows exactly when to, start to prep the mise en place. It's, if ever you want to kill your love of cooking, go into a kitchen. You'll never be the same. It's brutal. It's not fun. It's not, hey, let's talk. And when grandma cooks at the stove, comedy is like that too. And a lot of people, frankly, also find themselves under the delusion. Some really have a gift. They're not funny people. They're really not funny people. Dave Chappelle put it this way. If you're really a comedian, if you're really a good professional comedian, you are the worst guest, the worst talk show guest ever. And there's some people who are really, really good who cannot possibly be good comedians because they're too smart. This guy Dave Smith, or whatever his name is, who talks about Palestinian issues, he's very smart. He cannot possibly be a good comic. I think Joe Rogan is not the best comic, but he's a great talk show host. You can't be either or. You can't be a good comic and be a good thinker. You're not interesting. Even because they're always on. Even, believe it or not, even maybe Carlin to an extent. These people are not what you think they are. So what I wanted to do was, I thought, it's not that it's funny. I mean, they're funny, but I always wanted to do a combination of, this sounds stupid, TED Talks, which is a terrible example because TED Talks are pretty boring, but it's almost like a lecture series, but something that you will laugh because there are some things that are very funny. Now that I'm funny, it's funny. So not to belabor the point, 2 weeks from tonight at the cutting room, we walk in and we have cards, with these index cards. Everybody writes on the question, and you come to me, and we're in this thing because I am in a different stratosphere, and so are you. We all are. You and I are born in different. Listen to what I'm saying. We're from a different planet. We came along maybe at the right time in a world that's evolving drastically. We are analyzing things our fathers, grandfathers, nobody has ever dared to even touch. So, not to belabor the point, tickets are available there. 2 weeks. I want to see you. And when the doors close and we get down to brass tacks, you're in this room, we're having fun, people are drinking and all this kind of stuff. When it starts, it starts. Sal Angelo says, Lionel, I've been listening to your live streams and radio shows, but sometimes not at the present time. Here's for making up for lost donations, working long hours, but appreciate the content. Sal, thank you, my friend. You are more than kind, and I appreciate it. We kind of catch each other on different times. I am so thoroughly shocked. I'll tell you this. I'll explain this in a moment. The radio thing and what we do. But belabor the point. 2 weeks from today, please. Tickets are available. See me. Cutting room. Please get there. Make sure you get there. Don't just make sure we don't have problems because of crowds and all that kind of stuff. 2 weeks from today, I want to see you there. Thank you, Sal. I'm in my world of radio, and I am so by virtue of what I've been doing with you, this is the greatest. I guess you might want to call it the kind of a workout training for something that is nobody does. I'm telling you, I know it sounds highfalutin when I say nobody does what we do. It sounds like I'm patting myself in the back. I'm not. I just know this is just true. Nobody's doing it. It's like you have the only fondue restaurant in your city. You have the only you just know nobody else is doing this. Nobody's doing this. And I go into this world of talk radio and I'm realizing I come from being around you and your world and what we do. We, first of all, are fearless. Think about what we do. Fearless. We don't care at all what is not popular or what is popular. We don't care about that. We don't care about that in the least. We don't care about it. It means nothing to us. Whether it's popular, whether we're the only one. In fact, I'll go say I can only talk about me. I don't know if you agree with me necessarily, but I got to tell you something. If everybody believes something, there's something wrong with it. We love, and I don't know what your red pill moment was or what it was, but I told you mine was 9/11. And I'm still not the same. Still not the same. It set me, everything you hear, everything is probably, put it this way, everything that you hear in the media is probably a lie. And we can get into whether, is it a lie? Is it a distortion? Is it a fabrication? Sal, maybe you can figure this out. I don't know. I can't figure out whether it's a distortion, whether, it's hard to say. It's hard to put into words. And I don't know where you were, what you came along, but all of a sudden we realize that we have this understanding. I will say, I will pay homage for, and I have never, ever backed down from this. And one day he will truly get his due. But the Beatles, the Alpha, the Omega, the Mozart, the Johnny Carson, whatever the trailblazers were, Alex Jones. Alex Jones came along and did not necessarily do the first kind of, what's his name, Beyond the Pale Horse, whatever. I mean, there's other people who do it. He did something different. It was the subject matter. It was the idea that behind the wall, behind the curtain, behind the set was a reality of a bunch of people who are not your friends, not necessarily your friends. And he introduced people. He introduced, Cloward Piven, we heard, and he introduced, he just turned us on, and the idea that there was operations before even Wikipedia, because he came along really seriously. He came along right at the height. Well, the internet's been around since '96 technically, but he really came around in 2001, at least for me. I mean, I kind of knew stuff, but he introduced me to a whole new world of new people. I told you this. In high school, I was a little avant-garde, a little bit. And I liked jazz. I thought jazz was the greatest, because I wasn't as much into rock then, because I thought what I really wanted to do, because I was like the bohemian hippie without being a hippie. No drugs, none of that stuff. But I wanted alternative things. And when I liked jazz, I found out that Downbeat was the magazine, because it turned me on to Europe. And then later on, I knew some. Anyway, I found out that there's Kenny G jazz, and then there's the rest of the world. We know that whenever you see something, look behind it, and there's something more important. The other day, that horrible flooding in Texas. Those people, 23 children, people washed away, swept away. And the first thing I thought of was geoengineering. Geoengineering. We are seeing and we are aware of weather manipulation, seeming manipulation. We don't know, but we wouldn't be surprised. And we know something is up, and we're not stupid anymore. We know exactly what this is. I'm not saying it was, but I'm going to give you an example of something as an aside. In the past, 15 years, from a layman's point of view, lipidology, LDL, cholesterol, heart, what people are learning now, what cardiologists are doing. Wow. It's night and day. Night and day. Don't want to get into that. And you either get in with the new program or you don't. But I promise you, when you go to a really good cardiologist today versus 10 years ago, night and day, night and day. Just night and day. That's what this is. I always talk about Fox News, and I want you to understand something. They are, to me, the clown princes of dinosaur politics. Neanderthal background, almost embarrassing. But they're still there. They're still there. If we were to use maybe an analogy in medicine, they would be bloodletting and leeches or something. I don't know what the word is, but they're such clowns. Such clowns. And they are as propagandistic as anything else. And when we notice something, we will tell you, and you may not like it. It may be, it may absolutely be the most politically incorrect thing that anybody, by the way, politically incorrect means it's true. Conspiracy theory means it's true. When you say that's politically incorrect, it means it's true. If you ever said something that was crazy, that was without merit, it wouldn't be, it just would be discarded. It just wouldn't be even accepted. Nobody would even look. Listen, it's true. So this past week, I've been telling people this, and I only can tell you this because as much as I love my talk radio family and my new audiences, and they would not understand what this means. And we start with something which I loved, and some of the people that make the people that really made the most sense to me. Look at this Sabertron Toys says, Liddy, Lionel's litigation. Thanks for your service. Thank you, sir. I believe, sir, or madam, or they for that matter. When Gustave Le Bon, crowd theory, birds, propaganda, Bernays, Aristotle, Plato, Kubrick. I've got a friend of mine, put it this way, if I had a university of us and I said, okay, welcome to Conspiratorium University. The head of the moon hoax department, my expert is my friend Vinny. He's the chairman of the department. He can tell you everything. He knows more about that than anybody. He is the best when it comes to this. When you want to hear about, if you want to hear about anything about Palestine, this isn't even a conspiracy. But if you want to hear about, because let me ask you something. Do you remember in the let me go back. There are people who all of a sudden in music hit number one status. They've been around for a long time, they've been playing for a long time, they've been famous for a long time, but they never really hit it big. They never really hit it big. You know what I mean? There's people who, anyway. But they've been around for a long time. If you want to know this thing called the Israel lobby, BB, Israel 2025, Adelson, APAC, whatever you want to call that. In my university, the courses will be taught by Judge Napolitano, Colonel McGregor, Jeffrey Sachs, Scott Ritter, Alistair Crook, Larry Wilkinson. Go down the list. Max Blumenthal, probably the chairman of the department. Aaron Mate. Absolutely mind-boggling. Remember when people said, isn't, and remember, when I hear something, my world is not either or. Mine is merely supplemented. Remember when you heard that Susie Wiles was the greatest thing, Pat Summerall's daughter? Susie Wiles is a great. Listen to what Blumenthal says. If what he's saying is 100% true, I have no reason to think it's not. She's a BB protege. The White House is filled with BB proteges. Does that sound better? When you say AIPAC and Zionist, people, BB protege. Does that sound better to you? Okay, all right, maybe that's it. It's like nothing. And all of a sudden, for reasons I don't know why, but all of a sudden people are saying, oh my God. It's like there's this, I told you I had this terrible, this thing in my finger. It was like, it was like an ingrown, it was an ingrown nail. And it was, I swear to God, I said, I know there's some pustule. I don't get dramatic about it, but I knew it. And I'm seeing no whitehead, no nothing, but I knew it. And the pressure was building up and it was, God. So I took a needle and I stuck it in. And when I hit pay dirt, oh my God, the pain alleviated, but this wonderful lava Vesuvius of this xanthic greenish, it was yellow verdure, lymph infection. It was beautiful. Oh my God. It was like, thank you, God. And I squeeze it, and you squeeze it. And then you hit blood. It's like, good, I got it. My pain was alleviated and I'm done. Because the pressure that was there, it was there the whole time, and I knew it. Waiting for it to come to the top, waiting, and I got to push it. Finally, there it is, I popped it. Well, that's what's going on. For the longest time, the Blumenthals and others have been hitting you this, and we have new people coming in. CNN the other day said that in 7 years or whatever, young people have done an 80-point swing. The dynamics are that the younger people, the younger Democratic voice is 100% for Palestine, and they believe the Zoran Mamas, Zoran, that all of a sudden he's the darling because of his position on Palestine. Zoran Mamdani is it. Now, when I tell people this, and you talk to the Fox News people, and you talk to the Mark Levins, or you talk to these other people, or to whoever it is, they are so allergic to reality. They are so allergic that they say, I don't want to hear anything about this. They say, well, you better hear something about it because this is the truth. This is what you've got to understand. This is a reality. I'm not saying, and you can try all you want. Let me just give you this as an example. This is Bernays. This is propaganda. This is reality. There is a reality that's happening here. And I'm not pointing why. I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm saying the reality is simply going on right now. There's a 80% people are saying what is happening with Palestine is unconscionable. And all of a sudden, numbers, a colleague of mine who is just a wonderful young woman. She's just been terrific. Rachel Blevins, absolutely superb, focused, serious. But go down the list. There's just it's overwhelming. And yet, if you went to 6th Avenue, 48th or 9th, whatever, 6th, if you walk into Fox News and you took a Levin or somebody and you say, do you understand what's going on here? And you can say they're anti-Semites. I said, most of them are Jewish. You don't understand what's happening here. You can maintain whatever you want. I'm telling you, there is a movement here. And whether you like it or not, who's right or who's wrong, I'm telling you, it's a reality. I'm going to tell you something. A while back, I think you've seen this, in New York, there is a the end, the sad end of the delicatessen. The Jewish deli is just, I mean, there's Cats and there's some others as well. And there's some others in Brooklyn that are really hardcore. But the bottom line is simply this. The consumer doesn't want it. By the way, I give you a lot of analogies. So when I say this, I'm not signaling let's talk about delis. I'm giving you this as an analogy. There's some of you great people say, oh, I want to talk about delis. No, that's not what I'm talking. That's an analogy. It's a metaphor. It's an example. For some reason, when people started to eat differently and watch what they ate and watch, fats and saturated fats, a lot of these places just lost their luster. So the demand for the Jewish deli, it was sad to say, with the schmaltz and the chicken fat and the wonderful, greasy, just wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, that's the reality. And what the Fox News crowds don't understand is that it shifted. So remember something. When the numbers drop, when the takeout orders drop, when the walk-in business drops, it's not about you. Your product is good. It was good 20 years ago. It's still good now. The audience has changed. Remember, music changes not because it gets bad. Music gets better. Disco got better. It really became more complicated and more complex. People just lost interest in it. So understand what I'm saying. And Edward Bernays will tell you this. It's not so much propaganda. Propaganda only works provided you give somebody something at the right time. When Edward Bernays decided to try to promote cigarettes right after World War I, II, I, he wanted to show that he wanted to make cigarettes the sign of liberation. Remember Virginia Slims? You've come a long way, baby, to get where you're going today. You've got your own cigarette now, baby. You may laugh at this, but it was a big deal. That was Bernays. He called them freedom torches or something. Women, you can smoke too. It's about time, women, that you claim your freedom. How dare anybody tell you you can't smoke? Smoke. Smoke your own cigarette. This is your breath. And they bought it. They bought it. They bought it. And we know this. We know this. And if I were to go into, and that's the biggest problem I have with a lot of these people on the right, they think about terms of very, very black and white, very, very apodictic. Very, 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 very. They lost everything. They lost. So, anyway, Bernays, and by the way, some people have the same feeling about Ayn Rand, who I personally think never did a thing for me. I think is a colossal fraud, but she's very popular, irrespective. It's just like I think the Ramones were horrible, but people like them. The father of public relations, as he was called, but more accurately, the architect of modern manipulation. That's what this is. This is manipulation. The man who took his uncle Sigmund Freud's insights into the unconscious mind and weaponized them, not for healing, but for control. See, Bernays understood something that most still refuse to admit. If you can shape emotion, you can bypass logic. And if you can bypass logic, you can control behavior. That's what we're talking about right now. Right, that's it. And you know it, and I know it, and you have the ability to appreciate that. Now pair that with the entertainment industry, forget it. This isn't just about Diddy. Remember, he's the puppet. He's the consequence. The real story is what created him and what protects him and whom he protects now to this day. We're talking about an entire, I love this word, an entire ecosystem engineered through propaganda, to normalize depravity, to invert morality, to reward submission to a system that thrives on secrecy and exploitation and ritual, and that focuses on the poor, young, dumb, black, not so much white, but black, gullible. Not that everybody who's young and black or dumb, or no, but a particular target. People who are young, yes, and dumb and black and impressionable, and who have nothing, but who actually look to this moron. Oh, it's beautiful. In fact, the more ill-conceived his star, the better it is. See, entertainment is not passive. It's not escapism. It's the most effective delivery system for psychological conditioning ever devised. And Edward Bernays laid the blueprint. He advised corporations and governments and politicians and countries to stop selling products and start selling desire. Do you hear what I'm saying? Desire. This is the most important thing. Stop promoting ideas and start manipulating identities. It's not enough for people. It's not enough for people to like something. They've got to need it. They have to merge with it, idolize it. I told you yesterday, Mrs. L, and I went out to a mall. We went out went to a cheesecake factory. Oh, what a genius place. And I'm always looking at the way they set it up. Who's who? Who are they? First of all, anybody who tells you that this economy is gone, that is not a cheap place by any stretch of the imagination. And the families were there. A lot of minorities, a lot of blacks, a lot of young people. Absolutely. But whatever it did, we've been to a bunch of them. And I like it. I like what attracts families, but it's considered by some to be passé. Oh, no. First of all, the menu is phenomenal. Anything you want, you can get. But what is it that draws them? What is it? It's the identity. Then we went into a mall. I told you we went to this place. It was we had these gift certificates and Mrs. L bought something. And the bill, the final bill, I swear to God, I'll show you that, was $17.76. Does that mean anything? No. Unless it does. You see, you love for there to be control. You love for things to make sense. You love fate. You love, because you're a human being. You love this. You love the believing in good and evil, and good will prevail. And you like the happy ending. You like the John Wayne movie. You like your Frank Capra. On the 4th of July, 1776, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't entropy. There was a reason for that. There was a reason for that, because you love reason. You love things to make sense. Even you, as smart as you are, you believe that good will prevail. You believe in good versus evil. You believe there is dark and light will always prosper. I don't ever change that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it. Because what happens can change on a heartbeat. And it has nothing to do with good versus evil. It trends. It just trends. Things move, and this goes in, this was out, this is in. Now, I want you to imagine this strategy, Bernays' strategy and others, turn loose in Hollywood, in the music industry, on social media. And what do you get? You get ritualism disguised as rebellion. You get Luciferian iconography on national TV, and they call it art. They love the red. They love the devil. They love the pagan. They love this. Since the beginning of time, man loves symbolism, semiotics, dark, evil, good. It loves this. It just, oh my God. You can't get away from it. It's always loved it. And the people in the industry, Sammy Davis Jr. was a Satanist. Remember that one? It goes back to Kubrick probably did more to let more people know the truth than anybody else. We won't. We know what he did, but a lot of people don't. See, you get trauma-based mind control relabeled as celebrity breakdowns. Why do you think this is happening more and more on TV? Why do you think we see this more on television? Why do you think women are losing their minds? Why do you think there is an absolute proliferation of crazy traffic stops and women losing their minds and not being able to be controlled? Why are so many black young people and people going into just with these wild, out of control scrums and riot parades? Why? Why do you think that is? Why does that happen? Why? You get child stars sold into stardom, broken by design. You get a society trained to worship the predator class because what their handlers told them it's cool, progressive, or glamorous. See, this is where Diddy comes in. Not as an innovator, but as a product, as a recruiter. And when you became privy to what he was doing in his world, you became habituated to it. Every time you see this, every time you are aware of this, every time you are made to think that this is normal, something in your own psyche changes. You know, he's like an enforcer of a hierarchy that uses sex as currency and humiliation as bonding. I mean, this is depravity as status, and all over the place. There are these people. Yes, there are Alex Jones, Cat Williams. I've always told you, Cat Williams' own problem is his own. He has no discipline. When he starts smoking weed, he sounds like a fool. But when he drinks, he sounds a lot better. Remember, write drunk, edit sober. Hemingway said. So let's be blunt. The highest levels of entertainment are indistinguishable from some spiritual war zone. But don't picture cloaked, figures in candlelit basements and whatever. Picture executives in corner offices, C-suiters, agents and stylists and producers and PR types who know exactly what happens behind closed doors, but do nothing. Misprision, baby. Because they're in on it. Because they benefit. Edward Bernays taught them that reality is optional. Is optional when you own the narrative. Are you following this? I know you are. See, the narrative today is this. Fame is power, and power is pleasure at any cost. That's the gospel of the entertainment elite. That's the Diddy. That's why Diddy's freak-offs, his parties, according to countless whispers and courtroom testimony, weren't just about drugs or sex. They were rituals, initiation, tests of loyalty. You don't make it to the top unless someone has something on you. This is the whole notion of the blackmail economy. This is extortion 101. That's how the system enforces silence. You've known this. This is what Epstein was about. We know this. If you're watching me now, you know this. This isn't news. This is axiomatic. It's the logic of blackmail, but spiritualized. It's MK Ultra with a Grammy. Mind control. Operation was a climax, that midnight climax. I mean, this has been going on forever. From Gottlieb. Why do you think symbolism matters so much in these circles? Why? Tell me why. Why do you think that is? Why is there this fixation on checkerboard floors and goat heads and Baphomet statues? Thank you, Howie Brown. Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Thank you, Howie. Howie's been with us for a long time, Howie. Don't think you are not appreciated, my friend. Thank you for that, sir. Why? Why the pyramids, the all-seeing eyes, the upside-down crosses, spirit cooking, blood imagery? Why do you think there is this ceremonial humiliation? Why? Because at its very core, this isn't just about money. It's about inversion. Invert the sacred. Celebrate, laud, promote the profane. Turn beauty into perversion. Turn virtue into weakness. In Bernays' words, the goal is to bypass reason. Carla, the cooking CEO, says, it is not on the subject, but we must block geoengineering in our skies. Hill Country, Texas is the subject. Hill Country, Texas is the latest victim. You know, it's funny you say that, Carla, and thank you. I'm going to be talking to my friend Dana Wigington. Unless I know otherwise, I am going to presume something. Put it this way. When you are doing a medical experiment, when you have a hypothesis, I think it is this. I think this car is acting because of the fuel injection system, or I think there's something wrong because of sodium levels or whatever it is. That's a hypothesis. Work. It's not a conclusion. It doesn't mean it. But because we know how this works, because Dane Wigington has been saying this and others, and we have been talking about geoengineering, it's the first thing to go to. So while it is not a conclusion, and I don't know if anybody has known me, I've been talking about this forever, to the point where I want to know what this is. I know what this is. There are a lot of things right now. Wi-Fi. Last night we have these friends of ours. They were at the shore and they have a new baby granddaughter. And they had these little headphones for the baby so the noise wouldn't bother the baby. And I said, what hurts your child, what will destroy your child, what will derail your child's progress is nothing you can hear and nothing you can see and nothing you can identify. It's Wi-Fi, diet, your phones. You have no plan on how to deal with the internet, social media. So, but Carla, I thank you. And by the way, don't ever say this is not on subject. Everything is on subject. Everything is interconnected. When remember when Carol Quigley came up, another one Alex Jones turned me on to, and Bernays and others, tragedy and hope and political ideologies. People are into Marcus Aurelius now for the first time, which is great, which is wonderful. But and maybe I'm convinced that as we get older, perhaps philosophy or philosophers or political philosophy, maybe it makes more sense because we just weren't able to handle it at a younger age. But anyway, but in Bernays' world, the goal is to bypass reason in everything you're doing. But in their world, the one that Diddy operated in, the goal is to bypass conscience and morality. Remember something about the word morality. When you teach your child morality and you talk about sex, you don't tell a child sex is bad, arousal is bad, pleasure is bad. That's not the point. That's the way it used to be taught. And that's why nobody was paying attention to it. There's nothing wrong with arousal. It was there for a reason. The way sexual excitation and by the way, remember, sex is 99% of it is in your brain. It's not, they always say this is the biggest sex organ. And nobody really understands that when you're young because you think about, It's funny. All we talk today about is when you get sex is lubricant and hydration and erectile dysfunction and erections and this and are you lubricated and are you okay? That's important. That's certainly important, obviously, but that's not what'll get you. See, what they don't teach you is they don't teach you the art of seduction. See, that's what Bernays would teach you. See, I guess society would say be sexy, but Bernays would say no, you want to win the audience. What is it that people find? What if you had to identify to your young son or daughter? What is it to allure people? How do you find someone? How do you find somebody in the dating world? What is it? It's not deception, but it's targeting human behavior. Your looks will last 5 minutes. That's not what lures them. And the hardest thing is patience. Patience. You see, people always ask, why do people talk so much about Satanism in Hollywood? What is that about? It's not because of goat sacrifices, but because the ideology of Satan, pure ego, domination, inversion of truth, it's the dominant operating system. Whether they know it or not, many of these players serve it. Not metaphorically, not in jest, but materially, through the degradation of others, through ritual abuse, through orchestrated trauma. That's what it is. Trauma bonding. Have you heard it? Now, let's not be naive. The ancient world knew all about this. Caligula knew, Nero knew it. Every decaying empire turns to orgiastic horror before it dies. Rome had bred in circuses, juvenile, its pedophilic elites, sacrifices, to false gods. And now so do we, except ours come in 4K with a soundtrack and a fragrance line. It's a whole other world. So this is the world that Diddy helped build, or at least enforce and create the illusion of this. That's why this case matters, because it tears the veil. And when you look at him now, not as a rapper, not as a mogul, but as a high priest of I love the Church of Caligula, because remember, nothing that we're doing now is new. Nothing is brand new. This has been going on forever. But what you see is Bernays, what he warned about, a population groomed to love its chains, to laugh at suffering, to invert its appreciation, almost to indoctrinate and to create more psychopaths, to cheer for the monsters, to call demonic abuse, just business or celebrity culture. Let me ask you this. What happens when the masses, when the audiences can no longer tell the difference between entertainment and enslavement? What happens? What happens when you can't tell the difference between glamour and grooming? They become livestock, cattle, beasts of burden. And this isn't hysteria. Don't think I'm telling you the truth. Don't get upset about this. Just understand it. It's pattern recognition. From Epstein's Island to Weinstein's casting couch to Nickelodeon's silent corridors. Remember Nickelodeon? The signs are everywhere. The symbols are open, and you're becoming habituated. You're becoming used to it. You're tolerating it. The handlers are smug, and the public numb, distracted, programmed. Oh, well, what are we going to do? Edward Bernays knew it could happen. He warned that the conscious manipulation of people, of the masses, wasn't just possible, but inevitable, unless people woke up. So how do we get people to wake up? Diddy isn't a fluke. He's a portal. He's a prism. He's like a little trap door. Remember that in those classic scenarios of the speakeasies. Look through him, not at him, but see the world through him. Look at the industry that crowned him, at the victims it buried. Look at the people that died in all the people around him. Look. Look at the networks that it protects. Follow the NDAs, follow the settlements, follow the careers that disappeared when people asked the wrong questions. And for the love of God, please, stop calling it a conspiracy theory when the theory becomes fact every goddamn day. Let me put it this way. If the Romans had Instagram, they'd be doing exactly what we're doing now. Idolizing perverts, worshiping death, painting their chains in gold. And there isn't, I guess this isn't just some fall from grace, whatever. It's a serious revelation of what, grace, whatever, was masking. And what about Diddy? He's just the opening act. Oh, he's it. Let me tell you something. Embrace this. Celebrate this. Behold this. Cultivate it. Don't be afraid of this. What I'm telling you right now, people hate to hear, because there's nothing worse than somebody says, you don't know what's going on. And we never can do this. Sometimes we come across as haughty. Sometimes we come across as know-it-alls. There's a great, used to be a West Tampa word, sabelo todo, like a know-it-all. We know everything. Well, we don't know. But we know what to look for. Imagine if you went back into you, just you, with no medical degree, no nursing experience, nothing, just knowing what you know at your age in this world. And you went back to medieval England. And you walked into a place and you said, oh my God, look at so-and-so. And you go, oh, he's got a fever. A what? He's got a fever. And they say, well, this is a possession of the devil. And you say, no, it's not. No, this is do you have any aspirin? What? Break the fever. What? You would know things like, well, that looks like an infection. A what? An infection. An infection. What's an infection? What does that mean? Isn't that the onslaught of evil? Well, maybe, but no, it's an infection. No, you would not believe what? Oh, you sprained a muscle. Sprained? The things you would be saying as a layman would blow them away. They would think you're some kind of a god. And if you could go back even further and you had a lighter, do you know what you would be? Oh my God. So what you're possessed with now is that same information at a level where you're not going back in the future. You're telling them right now. You're telling them this is what's happening right now because you see things differently. You know what's going on. You see, I was listening to this morning very early to an interview of Richard Nixon about his family. And Richard Nixon was talking about his father and how they sold him tires. And it's very simple. And Nixon rebelled against this. And he was just a very simple man. And he lived in a time with a very, very simple, a way of looking at things. Very simple. And interestingly enough, he always felt embarrassed about this. Now, today, our sensibilities are, oh, those stories are great. We love to tell the story how somebody came from nothing. And then we were simple, and my daddy told me, and we love that. So those stories that he was embarrassed about, because my father was a simple man. No, today that's great. You play that up. You don't want to say you were born with whatever it was. Have you noticed the number of charlatans in the world? The faux philosophers. One of the most incredible parasitic. He's this smug purveyor and exploiter of tragedy. Is Piers Morgan. I was watching something, and he was talking about, there was the case of this woman, Caffey, Caffey. They say she was the worst psychopath anybody has ever seen. Well, I don't think so. But anyway, so Piers Morgan. You know what Piers Morgan is? Now think about this. What are we? What are we? When you go into the animal kingdom and you say, I don't know what kind of animal this is. Is it predator or prey? What is it? And you can look at a rabbit and you can say, oh, this is prey. This is prey. Absolutely. Well, the eyes are on the side and yeah. You know, this, oh, absolutely. This thing is, this is just, everybody just, these things, I mean, they've really got to, they are just born prey. They eat little greens, and some carnivore comes along and takes it. Then you get the carnivore, look at their teeth, then look at their eyes like this. Well, this is a predator. Look at this. This thing is real. Let me ask you something. What do you call a vulture? What do you call a buzzard? What do you call that? What do you call a buzzard? What do you call them? What do you call them? And by the way, as far as what are we have ears on the side and eyes in the front, and we're a little bit of both. And we have a little canine, but mostly, forget it. We're supposedly the top of the food chain. What do you call a whale, the blue whale? It's not really a predator prey. Some of them are just kind of innocuous. But what's a buzzard? Thank you, Hillbilly. A scavenger. You know what? D.E. Fredericks is an opportunist. That's all right. That's all right. You're absolutely right. A scavenger. And what does a scavenger do? Scavenger doesn't do anything. He lets everybody do the work. And he comes in and he takes advantage of what's other people's work. Hyenas do that. Though hyenas will do some pretty serious stuff. But they love to take other people's kill. They're kind of like thieves, but a scavenger. And we need them. Buzzards and these, not ospreys, that's not one, but there's these wonderful, the way nature gave them that rubber head, that rubber looking head, so that when they put their heads inside of a gut, their feathers will become matted with intestinal or blood goo. And it's brilliant. Piers Morgan is a scavenger. He doesn't do anything himself. He has no content. He has nothing. He has nothing to say. He always is he's a scavenger. Media do that. They're not philosophers. They just wait. So he took these terrible cases of people who have done these terrible things, and he moves in with this faux piety. And yet this piteous, he's a simpleton, but he's very good at exploiting others. He's a scavenger. He lets other people do the harm, feel the pain, feel the disaster. And then he comes in, whether it's Princess Di. What do celebrity people do? They're scavengers. They basically let other people do stuff. We're different. I'm trying to find exactly what we are. I don't know if we're a predator or prey or what. We don't. We're kind of like the blue whale. We're just there. Nobody bothers us really. But back to Piers Morgan. They don't do anything. Then there were these people like Jordan Peterson. This is another one I like. Jordan Peterson is today, this is my favorite. He is the false prophet. He wants more than any, he is one of the most screwed up people. If you can't see this immediately, I don't know you. He is so troubled, and has been for a variety of reasons. He's a human being. But hit it big all of a sudden, years ago, when he brought up this crazy thing, not crazy, it would make sense, about pronouns. I don't want to use pronouns. Okay. And the pronouns, okay, all right, fair enough. And then all of a sudden, it's like, if I imagine you and I had little paper planes, little paper planes. And I threw mine and went, like that. And you threw yours, and you went a little farther. But Jordan stands there, and all of a sudden he caught a jet stream and took that plane just by happenstance. And people said, wow, that's him. He hit this thing, and he says nothing. People are laughing at him. laughing at him, laughing at him, laughing. It's just, he doesn't realize it. He says he's a buffoon. And I just sit back, and I'm not being mean. I'm saying so I look at these two people. I think, what kind of are they? I ask myself, what is it? Because I love this. What is it? Where does Alex Jones fit into this? Because these are the elements. These are our Woodward and Bernsteins, and they're very, very, very few. Some are informational. The philosophers I don't need at all. And of this group of people, they all fall under one category, and that is the alternative. And they pose a threat to alternative media, the usual stuff. AM, PM Magazine, or Good Morning, Des Moines, or the Today Show. That's dead. And of that group, we're here. And I don't know what we are. Scavengers, predators, prey. I don't know. I don't know what the word is. But there's what we do. There's one thing we do. We love camouflage. When I was a kid, camouflage animals fascinated me the most. And Peterson is a camouflage, and others are camouflage, and other people, they're just. And when I was a kid, I found out that there was this thing called the coral snake and the king snake. And the coral snake and the king snake looked almost identical, but the color patterns of them were completely different. For some reason, I don't know why, God said, well, we're going to make you look like the coral snake, and people won't eat you because if they get the coral snake. Okay, fine. The monarch butterfly and the viceroy and all these other things. And then we got to figure out, we got to look, there's a camouflage here. Diddy is a camouflage. Other people are. We always assess behavior. What we do is we assess behavior, motivation, intent. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to fool me? Are you trying to help me? What are you trying to do? What is your real thing? And I love these people. And I bring up examples just so that you can understand kind of who they are. I don't really... And the guys who are the most important, the ones who are the most important, you always have to ask is it about them or is it about the message? What is Diddy's message? It's about him. See, one of the things that is important, the notion of a cult normally involves one person, one major person, one charismatic person that everybody kind of surrounds themselves around. And that's the most dangerous. And sometimes, they lead countries, or sometimes. Trump has some of the characteristics of that, but not really. I think his what he really wants more than anything else, believe it or not, is a sincerity. He is a good, healthy, not an ego, but he has a good belief system in himself. He's not at all pretending. I mean, he knows exactly who he is. Remember something. Let me say this again. Never be fooled by anybody. Do you think that you have to like Donald Trump? Do you? Do you like Donald Trump? Do you like him? Very serious question. Do you like him? Do you think you would like him if you had to, let's say you're on a cruise, God forbid, and you know how you get your table, and he and Melania were at your table every night. Do you think you would like him? Do you think so? I'm just curious. You don't have to like him. Of course, it means no different. But do you think you would? What can you tell me about him? Do you ever go that far? Do you ever ask yourself? Do you ever ask yourself, What is he about? What is he really about? Is he legit? Is he always ask? Never be taken care. Listen, do you think he has anything to hide with this Diddy business or Epstein or whatever? Do you think so? Do you know so? Does it matter? I don't know. Always ask that. Never get caught. Don't ever let anybody use your faith in them to take advantage. You understand this? What do you think? First of all, we don't know him at all. I think he has been 100% the best thing I've seen. His shortcomings or mistakes don't even in any way weigh into the tragedy we've had to involve ourselves in. But what I'm saying is, do you think that he comes from a world that pays a lot of homage to famous people? I do, a little bit. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, he thought were social media stars, and he likes them. Seb Gorka, I don't know what he does. Bobby Kennedy, I'm wondering about Bobby because I'm not seeing anything there. Remember, I'm not leaving. I'm just evaluating this. Remember also, they work for us. So if I can analyze Diddy, I can analyze Trump. I can analyze anybody. I can always question this. Trump has these people on that he wants loyalty more than anything else. Diddy does that too. There is something about Trump. Trump is a positive cult figure. He is the central figure of MAGA. It is about him. It is about him. He loves the performance. He did that rally the other night and just did not stop. Did not stop. He loves this. Great. He loves to perform. He wants to be, at this stage, not just the star, he wants to be the hero. He wants to be Washington. He wants to be a general. That's what he wants to be. Understand what he's looking for. Biden never did that. Obama never did that. Obama didn't have they had no interest. I don't think they had any interest whatsoever. These were professional politicians. They were politicians who wanted more than anything else just to be whatever it was. Trump's a different story. You understand this? Remember this. Always analyze this. I'm not saying people have a hard time because they feel like somehow if they point something out, that is somehow you lose your membership card. Let me tell you this much. Listen to me carefully. He doesn't have any ruthlessness, and that's not good. He is not ruthless enough. That's not good. He doesn't have the ability to really, hurt somebody in public. You know why they have public executions? You know why they're public? I think you know, it's obvious. We don't have those. Name one person. He is really, really, really just, where you said, wow, dude, jeez. Who? Nobody. Not one person. Democrats are vicious. So Trump doesn't have that part of him. Well, maybe he'll learn. We've got some time. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand that. We have to be experts in human nature. And I'm just telling you right now, whether it's Diddy, whether it's this, understand Trump is terrific in selling you an idea, but he needs to be a part. Remember, the people that are going to hurt him are the left, of course, but the people in his group, who will let him take his focus off the mark. My friends, I want to thank you. What a beautiful day today. Sal Angelo, so kind. Sabertron Toys, Howie Brown, and our dear friend Carla, the cooking CEO. We thank you. If you pray for those poor people in a hill country in Texas. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Never, ever, ever lose your skepticism and your incredulity. And don't forget, 2 weeks from today at the cutting room, I want to see you. We have to put on, this is for Zoran. We have to absolutely positively coalesce and put all of our money, I'm telling you, behind Eric Adams. Absolutely. It's the only answer. The only answer. And it can be done. All right, dear friends, have a great and a wonderful and a glorious day. Again, thank you so much for your kindness. We will talk soon. And don't forget, until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dad.